Well, Callum, it's the morning after the night before. Aberdeen have reached uncharted territories in Europe. We are in the playoffs. As fans of American sport and basketball and American football, we all know the excitement that playoffs generate. I think it's fair to say there's a lot of excitement around Aberdeen this morning.
Definitely. I may not look very excited.
Or sound it.
But no, I am very excited. We'll see what next week brings. It should be interesting. I don't know what to expect, in all honesty, but that's the beauty of playoffs, baby. Oh God, this is going to be fun.
Yeah. I knew you'd get something in about the playoffs there, but hopefully we perform better than the Miami Heat did, and that's all I'll say on that one.
Should have done that.
But second 5-3 aggregate win in Europe this season. 5 wins out of 6 so far for Stephen Glass this season as well. Obviously that one defeat kind of coming in a game that maybe it's hard to judge given we were 5-1 up after the first leg, but certainly an entertaining affair last night.
It was. It's obviously at times a little bit cagey, but I did watch the highlights again today just to make sure I was remembering things correctly. But pretty end to end. Actually, at one stage, the man on co-com did say it was a bit like a basketball game at one point, just end to end, constant chances. That's entertainment, baby. It's glass ball. Kid just hates clean sheets, but he loves getting us to score goals.
Stephen Glass's Soccer Reds, entertainment guaranteed. Value for money, but we'll maybe come on to value for money later on in the show. So it's been a hot topic of discussion this week in the build-up to the game. Looking at the team lineup, Dylan McGeoch retained his place in the starting 11 alongside Scott Brown. Johnny Hayes, despite his injury at Livingston, was fit enough for the bench. J. Emmanuel Thomas finding himself on the bench alongside. I don't know about you, because I know you were like me enjoying your time in Scotia pre-match, but I was a bit surprised at the team lineup. I actually thought we were quite defensive looking.
I think so too. I was a bit surprised. I maybe wasn't surprised to perhaps see Jet drop to the bench. Obviously, he's as we've said, maybe like sort of high pressing.
Struggled.
Maybe struggled, but sort of high pressing games kind of things. Not his thing, and obviously he hasn't performed quite to the level like he did against Hacken maybe the last couple of games. But I thought maybe someone like McLennan maybe would have started it up in support of Ramirez or something like that. Even maybe Niall McGinn again, even though it was a bit meh, Livingston. But no, it was. I think it was set up to be conservative, possibly to keep things tight and not lose those early goals like we did against Hacken, and all of a sudden have a total nightmare on our hands, basically.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, it was that first half did have that cagey feel to it, the opening 20 minutes. And I think Breidablik, they came out maybe as we expected. And I think that's possibly why we went with the team we did, to maybe like stuff the midfield and null any possible attacking threat, because we saw how well they moved the ball over in Iceland and attacked in good measure. But I thought we largely dealt well, both McKenzie and Ramsey as fullbacks, dealt with what they had to offer. First half, I think the only real chance of note that I remember was when they did get in behind Jack McKenzie, and I think it was Wilhelmsen misses the open goal.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember when. I think maybe McCrory got a touch and it was offside or something like that. But yeah,
I couldn't remember if there was a covering defender that got in, and I think he put him off anyway, because really, I was a glaring miss, I thought.
It was. I think we did get away with one there a little bit, but if that's the only chance you can remember, and I'm just going to be struggling to remember much more. But even on the highlights, I think that was basically it. But on another day, perhaps might see a different outcome. But we got away with it. Stephen Glass's tricky Reds.
Yeah, but it's not like us to be riding our luck defensively. It's not like we've done that all season so far.
I know, and then it only carried on in the second half as well.
Yeah, it's not like, well, we changed things, but we're still struggling to change things defensively, but we'll come on to that. We created chances of our own in the first half after that warning shot, but some costly finishing that thankfully didn't come back to bite us, but both chances, I mean, they both, in Ryan Hedges and Christian Ramirez, hit the target, do you think both should be doing better? I think the Ramirez one's the harder one, but Hedges, I think, is inexcusable not scoring. Maybe harsh saying that.
Oh wow, yeah, no, I possibly agree. I think he did recover later on, however, but I think in this game Hedges could have had a double hat trick without a chance he had. But yeah, no, I think Ramirez. I think it's hard for him to take that one on. To try and sort of start outside the post, get it to come back in again, but maybe still should have done a little bit better. It's a fairly straightforward save for the keeper. Yeah,
notice he took it first time. Maybe could have taken another touch to set himself. I guess why he's doing it, to try and set it out past the post and curl it back in, but just felt a bit rushed when it maybe didn't need to be. But overall, the first half probably didn't go the way we would have expected, and 0-0 at half time. I would argue that they were probably been the happier side, and I thought they definitely shaded the first half overall.
I'd say possibly. I don't know if they shaded the first half for me, but I feel like they've been the happier side, having not really been put to the sword at home in front of a big crowd, and still having 45 minutes to go and bringing in the tie, essentially, all things considered. They sort of came out, feel like they did come out with a game plan, and yeah, they would have been happy with it come 45 minutes, perhaps more happy than Stephen Glass, hence we saw those changes.
Yeah, and like in Iceland, when the game was maybe not going as well as we would have liked, Stephen Glass once again showing that he's not afraid to make any changes at half time. Two last night instead of the 3 that we saw the week before. Funso Ojo coming on for Dylan McGeoch, a substitution, and I said to Brune, because I said, we were lacking something in that midfield, just a little bit of spark. I never thought spark and Funso Ojo would be 2 words I'd be saying together last season. And then Conor McLennan coming on for Declan Gallagher. Were you surprised by that second change?
I was a little bit, actually. I came back for the second half and I was like, oh my God, Conor McLennan's on. Kind of had no idea what was going on. But no, I was a little bit surprised. Yeah, basically. I'm just sort of winging my way through everything at the moment. No, I was surprised, but it's a positive change, about as positive as you can get, really. It's good to see, and clearly I think it did work. Obviously, Conor McLennan did have a couple of chances, didn't take them, but he looks brighter. I feel like he looks a bit more coherent as well at times. So I'm quite happy with him so far.
Yeah, but when you make substitutions at halftime and you want them to have an impact, you want it to be. I don't think you would expect it to be as instant as the impact Funso Ojo had in, the fancy Pirlo footwork. Kevin De Bruyne would have been proud of, definitely, linking back to Belgium. And yeah, setting up Ryan Hedges beautifully, who, for his miss that he had in the first half, and he had another poor miss in the second half, there was no missing that one.
No chance. But I mean, Funso Ojo gave him no chance of missing it, essentially. Put it on an absolute plate for him. The easiest goal he'll probably ever score. But what an impact Ojo had. I honestly, for a man that was like halfway out the door, you'd probably expect, after he went on load away and then came back, even under Stephen Glass, I didn't really expect him to have this sort of role, let alone even be here at all, maybe. But he looks like a genuine new man, and it's brilliant. And I thought, well, as soon as Hedges scored, watched it on the highlights, he's pointing at Ojo straight away.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. So I'm glad he's getting the credit he deserves from his teammates as well, not just us.
Yeah, that's the thing I was about to say. I'm glad you brought it up, because I was going to say that they all made a point of appreciating the work that Ojo put in. Him himself probably unlucky not to find himself on the score sheet again. Just maybe wants to touch up on his finishing, but another good block defensively. You think at 1-0, will we see any form of fight back? Will the stuffing be knocked out of Breidablik? But no, they stuck at their job, they stuck at their task like they did in the first leg, and they came back. Now, I had to watch this goal back on the highlights as I missed it during the game due to the flag waving, but that's maybe another controversial topic that I know is out there. Jack McKenzie maybe getting caught out by the crossfield ball, but Eolfsson, like he did in the first leg, an excellent finish.
It was a very, very good finish. It was a little bit concerning how free he was, as free as a bird on the edge of the box there. But can't take anything away from the finish. It was a great finish from him and gave Lewis no chance. But exactly, they did come back. They came back scrapping. That's maybe a bit harsh, to be honest, to say scrapping, because they do play some really good football, and we saw that. And they created a lot of clear-cut chances, perhaps more than we'd like to be giving away. And they happened to take that one. Thankfully, they weren't so clinical the rest of the time.
Yeah, but I was going to just pick up on that point there about the chances that they were creating. I know through their own good work, they did create plenty, but once again, we saw evidence of us gifting teams chances, which we really can't afford to do if we want to, get to the group stages. Because there's going to be a step up in opposition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. We can't afford to do it against Qarabag, but also look at, we've got Hearts next in the league, not discounting Raith, of course. Coming up, but we've got Hearts next in the league as well, and we can't be giving them those sort of chances either. They've got off to a great start back in the Premiership, so it's something that probably needs to be addressed. They've probably not have much time to work on these kind of things right now. It's just game after game after game. So hopefully we do sort of see it sorted out eventually, but we can't keep giving up these clear-cut opportunities, because teams will start taking them.
No, and especially when, I suppose, in a game like last night when we were not exactly clinical in front of goal. I know we did come away with 2, but when you're giving up chances to teams and conceding goals, but also conceding poor goals like we've seen previously, the Livingston goal, you've got to start being more clinical up top as well, because, refer to the last episode when you said, if they score 6, we'll score 7. Which is what I feel is like the motto of our season. It's, I don't care how many you score, we'll score more. Mm-hmm. But I think a few of us would like a little less, leave some more nails on our fingertips by the end of the 90 minutes.
I think so, because there is going to be days where we have days where we can create as many chances as you like, and we won't score. We won't score tomorrow night. So we do need to tighten things up at the back, but and also start taking the chances. I said Ryan Hedges obviously took both goals very, very well. First one he couldn't miss really, but but he could have had another 2, 3 maybe even with the chances he had. And you've got Ramirez too. He had a couple of chances. Conor McLennan too. It'd be good to see us be a bit more clinical. Maybe we're being picky. We probably are being very picky considering we came through with a 2-1 win. But we've got to find something.
We've got to look at well, you've also got to look at both sides of things as well as being happy. You're always, I suppose, striving for perfection. And there's definitely things that we can perfect ahead of the next round. And like you say, going into the Cup on Sunday and then following again at Hearts in the league, which won't be an easy game. And like you said, Ailson found himself free as a bird on the edge of the box. That's something that they'll want to look at from an Aberdeen point of view, is whose man was that? Why did he have so much free space? And hey, fair enough, he takes it first time, doesn't even need to take a touch and curls it into the side netting beautifully. But again, from an Aberdeen point of view, how is he finding himself in so much space at the edge of our box to get that type of shot away? And we then, we put ourselves under a bit of pressure by conceding that goal, because with no away goals in the tie, now in Europe, it meant a second goal for them on the night would have seen the tie go to extra time. And like you said, though, they nearly got it by sloppy play from Constantine looking for the pass. Ferguson caught out. Don't know if he's, dilly-dallying, his mind's elsewhere, wasn't expecting the pass, who knows. But Joe Lewis, who maybe had a quieter night than he was expecting, was on his toes. We've been critical of him in the past, but when we needed him last night, he stepped up.
Yeah, I've been critical of him in the past and maybe didn't cover himself in glory for the Livingston goal. Maybe it's a bit harsh, but it was good to see him when called upon. His concentration levels obviously clearly high, and bailed us out a couple of times. Obviously, it wasn't his busiest night, but when he was there, when he was needed, he was there and ready to be called upon.
And like you said, we're just lucky that the follow-up effort was just ballooned over the bar, because a bit more composure, we could have been talking about a different outcome here. But it's not to be in the case of Breidablik, and we've got a trip to Baku to look forward to. But Ojo, again, his impact was shown there in the second goal. Brilliant ball through to Christian Ramirez, who I don't think we can call this. He's trying to take that down for himself, but works out nicely that slows the ball for Ryan Hedges, and what a finish.
Yeah, what a finish indeed. He took it brilliantly, just stepped onto it absolutely perfectly, curled it in, and it just looked, when goals just look amazing.
Yeah,
that one was one of them. Perfect.
Especially when you're watching it from behind the goal as well. Like, you can see it's in from the minute it's left his foot.
Yeah, it's like the perfect view. Same as when sort of Ferguson hit his one from outside the box against Hacken. As soon as he hit that, it's in straight away. And same again there. But I love goals like that. He just stepped onto it perfectly, curled it around the keeper, and great celebration as well. To be fair, good knee slide. I appreciate a good knee slide. Very impressed.
Well, and what a celebration in the red shed as well, because another terrific atmosphere generated by a sellout crowd in the Merkland especially. Yeah,
definitely. I said to my dad, I had a conversation. I was like, let's see if we can move our season tickets. He was best pleased. But great atmosphere, fair play to everyone, and I think just long may it continue. Really, it's weird having an atmosphere at Pittodrie, isn't it?
And an atmosphere that continued throughout the game, and in large, most of the songs they continued to support the players and drove them on for what it seemed, especially in that second half. Even at 1-1, the vocal backing continued. There wasn't that nervous energy that would tend to creep in when there wasn't an atmosphere at Pittodrie. So yeah, really refreshing to see.
I agree. And also I think when under previous management, perhaps I wouldn't have had the confidence that we'd have then got another goal. I feel like it might have been like, okay, let's just game management, see this out, nothing silly. But we went and got that goal, secured our place in the next round, and it was very much welcome. Long may Glassball continue. I'm loving it, absolutely loving it.
Yeah, and not only did we get the second goal, but we could have easily had a third or fourth. Conor McLennan channeling his inner Darren Mackey on his one-on-one with the keeper there, as he put it straight at him when he had loads of choice, go either side, take it round the keeper. But yeah,
he sclaffed it. I watched the highlights and he sclaffed it, which, I mean, it's not great, but he wasn't aiming to do that. All right,
still channeling his inner Darren Mackey is what I'm going to say. Jet, and I think his desperation to grab his first goal, shooting instead of playing in Ojo, but then we've seen what Ojo's record's like with his finishing so far this season, so it was maybe just as well. But yeah, again, you've got to commend Stephen Glass for the way he decided to take the game by the scruff of the neck and make the changes at the right time. And some people will call it a gamble, making those changes at halftime with the tie finally balanced maybe at 0-0. Because, if they grab the first goal, we'd be talking about a different game when you've already made two changes. But like you said in the last episode, if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery. So
no, the thing is, I don't mind that. I don't mind that from Glass. I think, again, sorry to hark back to previous management. I'm sure you're probably sick of me doing it. But that wouldn't have happened. Changes often left late. I like that, going and taking control of the game, or trying to anyway. And in this case, it worked. And it was two effective changes as well. Okay, one more perhaps than the other, but I like it. Going and taking the game head on and trying to get control of it and take control of the tie and seal the deal. And eventually, it paid off. So can't complain, can you?
No, you can't. And I suppose we've already touched on looking ahead to Baku next week. We'll be joined by Patrick Kasky. He's going to join me and not you, Callum, because you're on a weekend away. Grant Campbell is once again coming off the substitute bench to join me. So he'll be joining me and Patrick to look ahead to the game. Those of you that follow us on Twitter at @RTG_podcast will have seen the thread that we quoted last night. Patrick's done a little bit of analysis on Qarabag and the threats that they possess. So check that out, as well as checking us out on Twitter. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. Once again, we really appreciate all the support that's been shown to this podcast over the last week. For the first time, Callum, we went over 1,000 listens in a week. Again, can't believe that when we got to 900 and odd last week. To go over 1,000 of you listening to us is pretty mental. And, Callum, just 14 subscribers short of 600. even that, as you know, it's been 100. We've had 100 of you subscribe to the channel in less than 3 weeks. Is again mental stuff.
I mean, look at me. You're actively choosing to come here and listen or watch this. So thank you very much. No, it is much appreciated. I don't think we expected. Well, I don't even expect to still be doing it at this stage when we started. Sort of see how it goes, especially after that Celtic episode. But no, thank you very much. It is much appreciated. And as Glenn said, if you've not subscribed or followed whatever you're tuning in, please be sure to get involved. You can probably laugh at more hungover me in future. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. And Grant Campbell's more than an able substitute. So look forward to having him back on the show again. But we've spoken about we need to improve in front of goal for the next round. Maybe look to shore up defensively. Our goal threat that came last night, Ryan Hedges, he's been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. How much do you think last night will have maybe added to his transfer value, but also highlights the importance that we need him to sign that contract?
Definitely. Well, he's moved from Bunkery to Aberdeen, so that suggests he's not going anywhere.
I liked how he sent Twitter into meltdown with his Instagram post about, his Instagram post of a moving company.
Yeah,
Coach suddenly thought he was away.
Thing is, there's no way he would ever post that if he was leaving, really. But no, that's the one time I didn't go into meltdown, to be honest. But no, definitely. I mean, we've actually this season we mentioned that last season he was like our one shining light for most of the time, and perhaps this season he hadn't quite got going. So it was good to see him get firing. I say added to that value, and maybe he might add another. Maybe that might improve his hand in terms of contract negotiations. Jesus Christ, I need to lie down after this.
I think people need to lie down after that sentence.
Ken, honestly, Jesus wept. Oh, sorry.
But also at full time, it was picked up by many that during the lap of honour, there was one missing player from that. Lewis Ferguson straight down the tunnel instead of joining in. Do you think we can read much into that, or?
Probably not. Did he not do it after the hacking came in and Calvin Ramsey as well went down? I can't remember. He's probably used to just being able to get away with murder under his basically his father, Derek McInnes. So he's, I don't know. I don't think we should read too much into it. I'm trying not to anyway because it's a horrible thought. But essentially, that's all it is. But as long as his dad shuts up and his uncle shuts up and stupid agent shuts up, we'll be fine, no problem. Let's just
folk will be thinking as soon as Calum shuts up, it'll be fine.
That's what they sign up for, really, isn't it? So.
Yeah, and one thing that maybe a lot of you that are tuning in will also want to see improving for the next round, Calum, is pricing.
Yes, I would agree. £32 is bloody ridiculous when you look at
St Johnstone. I think you were 34 for some areas of the stadium as well.
Were you? Jesus Christ. Dave, mate, you're claiming to be all for the fans, man of the people, etc. 32 quid in the first game back after a pandemic and people thought we were able to get to the football for a year and a half. Wise up, mate.
Dave's a businessman. He knows how to recoup those £9.5 million losses.
I don't care. It's shite from him. Shite chat. I'm sorry, but it is.
Well,
and I'm not putting hard done by here or anything like that, but I'm saying you could sell that place out if they made it 25 quid. They sold it out on Tuesday. Let alone still having tickets left on a Thursday.
A lot of people made good points about, the cost of families, because you touched on there, we harp on as a club about being a family club, and we're trying to attract the youth fans into the game. So for 3 under-18s that wanted to go in the Red Shed last night, £45. But yeah, an under-18 season ticket, £86. Families, they said, if you're looking at maybe under-16s, most of these, if you're might want to go with their parent, dad, mums, mum and dad, you're then 60 quid before you even taking your child. And let's be honest, when you're taking your child, they're not going to sit there for 90 minutes and not want a pie, a juice, crisps. Okay, the product on the pitch is entertaining, but they also want to be, fed off the pitch as well. It's becoming an expensive day out. And I am glad, Cormac has come out and acknowledged that they're going to review the pricing ahead of the Qarabag game. I hope it's acknowledgement in some form that they've got it wrong. I've seen folks saying 20 is plenty, possibly right, but, maybe £20 for season ticket holders, £25 maximum for the rest, because you're still rewarding season ticket holders for their loyalty, but you're not pricing out other fans. You're not making it too expensive, and you've also significantly lowered the cost from the previous round. I was trying to work it out. Excuse me, I'm going to get my calculator out in true accounts fashion.
Me, Ken.
15,000 at an average of, let's say, £29, because we've got, we've made 435,000 from that in ticket sales alone, working that on an average. We're now going to get, I think it was 750,000 euros for getting to the playoffs. So, we're certainly making money back. I know the club will say, well, the charters aren't cheap, and certainly a charter to Baku's not going to be cheap by any means. But don't sting the fans, the fans that have been craving getting back into the football for so long.
And I mean, so there could have been another couple of thousand in there or whatever tonight. Say that's people who haven't been regularly, or maybe thinking, I'm not sure about it. Then they go see a performance like that, they maybe want to come back in an atmosphere like that. And another factor you have to take into account as well, and not only spending money on sort of pies, programs or whatever there as well, but there's also the cost of travel. How many people who go to the games aren't from Aberdeen? Or don't live in Aberdeen, sorry. I've got to come in. I've got to get a train in from Inverurie. I've got to drive in. There's petrol costs, all that kind of thing. It does all add up. And it sounds like we're being petty. It's not. It's just a case of looking after people as they're meant to claim to do, really.
Yeah, and I think, we had a work call today, and we were saying about as well, a lot of people working from home now as well. So they've got to be able to make it marketable to attract these fans that aren't or no longer work within the city, that would, find it easy to go along to, at the end of their working day. They've got to get these folk into the city. Maybe we can see a link up with First Bus, Stagecoach, ScotRail. Let's see something like that going forward, and make some form of attractive pricing and commuting as well to get to these games. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what prices we get. Okay, so that is the European action put aside till next week. It's back to domestic action and the first chance for silverware as the Dons head to Kirkcaldy in the lunchtime kickoff on Sunday in the Premier Sports Cup. Callum, you'll be one of the Red Army in attendance. But do you expect Stephen Glass to do similar as we saw at Livingston and rotate the squad?
I would expect so. I think it's probably needed going to Azerbaijan on Thursday. That'll take a lot of out of the players, as well as obviously this tough fixture schedule, the busy fixture schedule. I'd expect something similar as against Livingston, perhaps sort of similar sort of players as well dropping out. But obviously we'll have them ready on the bench, ready to go if need be, like we did against Livingston, and hopefully we should have enough about us to get us through. However, I'm going to mention this now. In terms of Raith, I hope Christoph Berra is playing. I hope he's playing. I've missed calling him a shite Scott McKenna, and it's still going to happen. Can't wait for that.
A shite Declan Gallagher, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably.
On Sunday. But I was listening to John McGlynn on Raith TV speaking about how he's hoping our focus is elsewhere. Maybe he can catch us on a bit of an off day. Do you think there's possibly a danger of that we might have our eye on next Thursday?
I'd like to think Glass won't allow that. He seems to talk good game, and I think it's a good chance at silverware, and that's what he says he wants to do here. So I think it would be silly to let the mind go elsewhere. Let's be honest, it's more likely that we're going to be successful in winning this tournament than the Conference League, despite the fact that we obviously love to get to the group stages. So I'd like to think he would allow it. I hope he's got them all on the ball, even if there is rotation. And also for those players coming in, players like Jack Gurr, whoever, if they're fit, they've got points to prove.
Niall McGinn.
Exactly. He's got a point to prove. Bloody hell, doesn't he? So,
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what team we put out. Thinking back to that Livingston game where we made 6 changes. Jet didn't start last night. I expect him to start over Ramirez. Niall McGinn possibly starting. You look at Conor McLennan. He's not had maybe as many minutes as you'd have maybe hoped as an individual. Dean Campbell, we've not seen him yet this season. Could we see him coming into the midfield to give Scott Brown a rest? Again, Dylan McGeoch, he hasn't played as many minutes as Scott Brown. Will we see him? You've also got Ojo there. Do you rest him? Jenks as well. He could come in to stake a claim. Maybe he could come in off of the top, playing behind a Jet. No, it'll be interesting to see what we do, because I saw as a question posed by Greg ABZ on Twitter was, would you sacrifice in a way this game on Sunday for the European game, or should we not kind of have that mentality? Should we be going out to just win every game we're playing in?
I think realistically, in terms of looking after the players, we will have to rotate. I'm not saying wholesale changes. I would not like to see that if you sort of change the whole team. I would not like that. But I don't think we should sacrifice it. And I think rotate, but don't like put yourself at total risk.
Throw it away.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's what I would say, because there's a chance for success at in this competition. Obviously, Rangers been beaten already this season. They're not as untouchable as everyone thought they were. As soon as there's a crowd, they shit themselves. Celtic have no idea. I don't know what Celtic team's going to turn up. And, there's a chance for success. So let's try have a go whilst being sensible in terms of the fixture schedule.
Yeah, definitely. Although I think, I know we said we're speaking about domestically, but if things go well over in Azerbaijan on Thursday night, I think we will chuck the game on Sunday away to Hearts, which, we're delighted to find out that we're getting 1,200 tickets for. So that's a nice boost to see, because, going into that game on Sunday, we've got 2,500, I think, allocated, but it's great to see more away fans getting back into games.
100%. It's good to get on the road again. It's good to get away with your pals for not even just getting to the football, just sort of the day out, seeing them, things like that. It can only be good and long. Hopefully, this is just the way it's going to keep getting better and better. And actually, funny mention, Raith, 20 quid they're charging. Look at that. 20 quid for an away ticket. Brilliant. No loyalty points though, Callum. Another hotly disputed, especially when it comes to the game against Hearts, when these loyalty points might come into contention for a few people. But hey, that's a topic that I hasten to get into because it's one that annoys me no end. Looking ahead again to Sunday, Raith in this competition so far are unbeaten. Wins against Cowdenbeath and Brecon, draws against Livingston and Alloa, albeit mixed results on the penalty shootouts in those draws. League campaign so far, probably everyone's familiar with their opening day game, 4-0 up with 20 minutes to go against Hamilton before ultimately drawing 4-4, and then falling to a narrow defeat away to Inverness in their second game. So looking at their fixtures and scorelines, most of the games seem to be quite tight affairs. Main striker, I think he maybe plays in midfield, Lewis Vaughan's out injured for this game as well. So there's maybe chances that we can get behind Raith, but they'll certainly be an organised outfit. Yeah, they will be. I'm sure John McGlynn would not have not an organised outfit. He would not allow for that such thing. But having said that, they are subject to capitulation against Hamilton, as we saw. But no, I think it'll be interesting. I think if Christoph Bell is playing, as I've mentioned, that's encouraging. Man can't move anymore, so I like to think our dynamic forwards will be able to have a good day out with him. But no, we don't have any. I say this as if Raith hasn't caused us problems before in the past. Gregory Taddy, I'm looking at you. It's concerning. Their team at times do haunt me, but we should be confident. We should be confident even if we do rotate. And I like that we go down there. There should be a good following from the travelling Red Army. So why not get this cup show on the road, and then we'll win the lot.
Yeah, and I suppose though, just to touch on that squad rotation, maybe a factor that will come into it is the pitch. It's going to be another plastic pitch to contend with. So, Messrs Hayes and Campbell, who've previously had knocks and niggles, and are maybe working their way back to full fitness. Is that going to be this type of surface you'd like to see them come into Probably not.
Probably not. No, it will be something they have to consider going into this game. Perhaps resting Brown, obviously an aging player. You don't really want to. These pitches can do. They're a total enigma. Anything could happen with these pitches. So yeah, I think, but it's a good point you raised, especially about Hayes and Campbell. You maybe don't want to rush them back too quickly onto one of these pitches, especially because, as we said, there's so many injuries that can happen, and they're a danger. They're a danger to society.
They are a danger, and this tie does possess the danger to be a banana skin for Aberdeen. Hopefully it won't be, but I suppose that depends on the attitude of the manager and players towards this tie. Hopefully, like you've said, Calum, we approach it with the right attitude, and the first chance to really get on the road to winning silverware this season's, a cup that we have won previously, and silverware is something that certainly we all want to see returning to Pittodrie on a regular basis.
Yeah, of course we do. And Mr. Cormack and Mr. Glass have talked it up. So I'd like to think that we won't be too silly. We'll be sensible about this going into this game. Sensible in terms of managing the game, but also the fixture schedule. So this would be a good place to get started. Obviously, Cups didn't go so well last season. It'd be nice to get off to a good start.
Yeah, and it's also going to be a good opportunity, like you said, for those on the fringes to kind of step up and state their claim. We've got big games coming up. Europe domestically as well. We're going to need the squad, so we're going to need to make sure that these players are more than capable. So let's see what those on the fringe are capable of doing for us. But Calum, I hope you enjoy the game on Sunday, and I hope those of you that are tuning in or watching that are also attending enjoy yourselves, and hopefully we get another victory to speak about. Like I said, I'll be joined by Grant Campbell to review that game on Sunday and talk to Patrick Caskey about all things Qarabag ahead of the European fixture next Thursday. That episode will be out on Monday. Despite Calum being on holiday, he will still be editing and uploading the video for me.
I know, the work never stops. It might be Tuesday, but we'll see. Don't make any promises you can't keep. In fact, tell you what though, you'll have to subscribe and with notifications on to find out when it comes out. Thanks, Glenn. You set me up nicely for that one. Or follow us wherever you're tuning in, and on Twitter at @RTG_podcast. And also, if you've not subscribed already, this is essentially your perfect chance because I won't be there, so you'll have the lovely Grant and Patrick instead. So subscribe for them, if it's not for me.